Now, if you've followed me on this channel for a while, you would know that I have a thing for retro games and reviewing things that nobody asked for. So let's continue that tradition, shall we? This is the miratech video game player's boy, and if the name doesn't give it away, this is a Game Boy clone. For those who have no idea what the Game Boy is or was, it was one of the world's best-selling handheld consoles, which was launched by Nintendo in 1989 and was in production until 2003 when it was discontinued. Now, growing up, a Nintendo Game Boy was something reserved for your rich friends. And now that we are all grown and independent, finally, we still cannot afford the Game Boy. But you know what we can afford? The fake Game Boy clone. Now, the purpose of this review is not to authenticate the Game Boy clone. We have established that it's faker than fake, but how does it stack up to the OG? Let's start with the unboxing. The Game Boy clone features the console, an AV cable, a USB charging cable, and a user manual, which obviously is not the same unboxing experience as the original Game Boy. Unlike the original Game Boy, the clone does not have a cartridge slot. It comes with a whopping 400 retro games built in. More on that later. The build quality is nowhere compared to the original Game Boy. But then again, the Game Boy clone costs a fraction of the price. So let's take a look around the miratech Game Player's Boy or fake Game Boy. On the top, there's an on and off switch, a micro USB charging port, as well as an audio video slot to connect the Game Boy clone to your television. On the left side, there's a volume knob. On the back is a battery slot with a rechargeable lithium-ion battery. On the front is a 2.5-inch LCD display, although on the box it says 3 inches. Some controller buttons, which are definitely not the best out there. On the bottom right hand side of the Game Boy clone is a speaker, which sounds bad to be honest. When you switch on the Game Boy clone, you're given the option to choose a language between Chinese and English. Sadly, every time you switch it on, you have to choose the language, which can get very annoying. The display can get the job done, but it has very poor viewing angles. There's a lot of glare and it's not very sharp. The colors look dull, but then again, maybe it's that retro game look. You can also play the miratech Game Boy on your TV using the included AV cable. But it only has a max resolution of 480p, so most games will look very pixelated. As alluded to earlier, the Game Boy clone has over 400 games inbuilt. Some very popular titles including Super Mario, Mortal Kombat, Double Dragon, Pac-Man, and a whole lot more. But they are not 400 games though. The list of games include a few repeated titles, but a good estimation would say it has around 250 games, which is still very decent in my opinion, considering the cost of this console. Now, the battery life on the Game Boy clone lasts for about 5 hours on a full charge, but on the box it's rated for 6 hours. Now, this also depends on the type of games you're playing as well as your volume etc. Charging the Game Boy clone, I seriously have no idea how long it takes to charge to full. The red LED charging indicator light never turns green or turns off when the device is fully charged. You pretty much have to do guesswork to charge the console. The Game Boy clone is mad fun, especially if you've played retro games before. But even kids will definitely enjoy playing this Game Boy, although it may feel like a downgrade if they're used to modern titles. Now, there are several types of these Game Boy clones on the market, some with thousands of games, but this one in particular retails for under $10 on AliExpress and under $20 on Amazon. I'll leave a few buying links to both platforms if you're interested in getting one for yourself or your kids, which I would recommend. At least retro games were relatively clean, if you get what I'm saying. Now, would I recommend this fake Game Boy clone? I'll give it a solid 6 out of 10. It's very easy to forget that we used to pay a lot of money to play these games in arcades when we were growing up. And now, under $10, you can play as much as you want thanks to technology and the Chinese. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like and a comment below. I'll see you in the next video.